Welcome to the 50th episode of the Tertius Times podcast. Today is Saturday, October 30th, 2021. I'm your host, Brian Wright, and today we will look at jihadi violence against Nigerian Christians in a political context. There is no interview segment for today, and beginning next week, I will be taking 1 to 2 weeks off to promote the podcast in the hopes of raising more awareness of the brutal persecutions and severe human rights violations going on around the world. This is the 15th day since 17 missionaries were kidnapped in Haiti. The sponsored missions organization, Christian Aid Ministries, has no further update on the status of their missionaries, although they cite a recent encouraging government press conference in which officials are said to be working on the case, and they are extremely concerned for the missionaries. Continue to pray for their protection and safe return. There is an email address included in the description to send messages to the victims' families for their encouragement. The northwestern states of Nigeria have seen thousands of lives taken by Islamic Fulani, quote, bandits, unquote, in the last few years, and pressure has been mounting on President Muhammadu Buhari to name it terrorism so that the military can, quote, deal decisively with them, unquote. According to Failure to Declare Bandits Terrorist, Call to Order, Lawyers Task Lawmakers, October 30th, 2021, from Vanguard News Nigeria. On September 29th and 30th, both the Nigerian Senate and House of Representatives passed resolutions, quote, to wage a total war against the criminals, including bombing all their locations to eliminate them, while also declaring all known leadership of the bandits wanted and track them wherever they are for arrest and prosecution, unquote. Other officials, including governors and state house speakers, have also urged the president to call the bandits terrorists. One leader plainly stated, quote, there's no difference between bandits and Boko Haram or other terrorists, unquote, and another pointed out the, quote, bandits, unquote, quote, possess the characteristics of terrorists. They kidnap, they kill, unquote. A number of Nigerian lawyers are also pleading for the president to rename the quote-unquote bandits. One plainly stated there's no difference between bandits and Boko Haram or other terrorists, unquote. And another pointed out the quote-unquote bandits, quote, possess the characteristics of terrorists. They kidnap, they kill, unquote. Such a rebranding would enable the government to use recently acquired Tucano jets, designated as anti-terrorist use only, as per an agreement with the provider country, the United States. An Islamic cleric, Sheikh Ahmad Gumi, however, quote, has been demanding amnesty for the bandits, unquote, arguing that, quote, once bandits are designated as terrorists, the direct foreign jihadist movements will come into force and give, quote, criminality a spiritual cover, unquote, by claiming that they are fighting a quote-unquote jihad, unquote. And the president, as one lawyer put it, rebranded terrorism with the bandit label as one of his first acts upon gaining power. Now he has been reluctant to change the nomenclature back, and there is speculation Buhari's Fulani ethnicity has more to do with it than anything else. Others call on the individual state governments to take it upon themselves to officially change bandits to terrorists, since, as one lawyer put it, the National Assembly has not taken their constitutional duties, which would enable them to do the rebranding seriously, and its members being, quote, grossly incompetent, unquote. Of the 16 lawyers quoted in the article, at least 4 directly called for or implied impeaching the president. Several reasons were offered, even by those not mentioning impeachment. It is a matter of, quote, national security, unquote. The decision to not rebrand, quote, defies rationality, unquote. It demonstrates, quote, government hypocrisy, unquote, has, quote, fueled ethnic tension, unquote, quote, led to a galaxy of insecurity, unquote, and is both, quote, unconstitutional, unquote, and, quote, discriminatory, unquote. The president is further described as, quote, gradually destroying this nation with his impunity, unquote. He, quote, should stop being a Fulani president, but that of Nigeria as a whole, unquote. He, quote, lacks the political will to do the will of the people who elected him into office, unquote, perhaps because of his ethnic, quote, link to the bandits, unquote. And the president's indecisiveness has, quote, given these groups the impetus to operate the way they are operating, unquote. The National Assembly also received further criticism. For example, the current government is called, quote, a caricature of democracy, unquote, in which, quote, the lawyers have not actually exercised their constitutional powers and other enabling laws for political reasons, unquote. Another lawyer referred to the, quote, lethargic disposition of the federal government, unquote. Pray for Nigeria, the unfortunate home to about 3/4 of all Christian martyrs today, that the farmers, who are mostly Christians, of the northern and western regions of the country receive divine protection from the rash of Islamic jihadism, primarily exhibited through traditional Fulani herding that has been escalating in the recent years. Pray for the government that it take a bold stand against terrorism running rampant in their country. Pray especially for President Buhari that he has the courage and will to do the right thing for all the people of Nigeria. And pray for the terrorists that they would encounter divine terror themselves and turn from their violent and bloodthirsty ways. There is no interview segment for today, and I will be taking 1 to 2 weeks to promote the podcast starting next week in the hopes of raising more awareness of the brutal persecutions and severe human rights violations going on around the world. Continue to pray for the 17 missionaries kidnapped 15 days ago in Haiti, especially for their protection and safe return. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you found the information and interview presented here useful, and that it encouraged you to pray for these people and areas of concern, and perhaps even inspires you to take positive steps of involvement to alleviate the suffering of so many around the globe. Continue to pray for those mentioned today as you are led. Finally, pray with me that God's peace, eternally beyond our comprehension, guard the lives of all those who follow Christ and flows outward to bring that peace to all the world.